Alrighty, let's get into the NRL news. And the NRL has also confirmed this one coming through. Now, it's a big story, obviously. And the Latrell Mitchell situation, missile.
Yeah, one match ban, potential $120,000 fine over white powder photo. The NRL confirmed Mitchell will serve his one match ban only when fully fit, finalising its investigation more than 2 weeks after a photo emerged on social media depicting the 27-year-old leaning over a white powder. Mitchell will pay $20,000. There'll be $80,000 to be triggered if he reoffends, so that'll be a suspended amount. He'll also be required to undertake a training program with the NRL's wellbeing and education department.
You know, it's a really tricky one because, and I'm not judging anyone. Don't worry, I've got a stack of flaws myself. But one thing that I've never, thankfully, been involved in, and I wouldn't handle it very good, I've never had a drug in my life, missile. I'm not asking anyone else. So I've never done it. I don't understand it. And I don't think I'd be very good with doing that. But at the end of the day, and people are very, very quick to throw stones, right? And for someone who's never been down that path, we're talking about it. How old's Latrell Mitchell? 25, 26? Like, he's a kid.
Yeah.
He's a kid, right? He's an absolute kid. And no matter what the fans want, what everyone else wants, he's made a mistake, clearly, and we're not idiots. We kind of know what was happening. But he's 27 now, 27 apparently. The chat is that he's going to pay a $20,000 fine and upfront to the Rabbitohs, by the way, and an additional suspended $80,000. So he's got to pay $20,000 in NRL-imposed fines, $20,000 upfront to the Rabbitohs with an additional $80,000 to be triggered if he reoffends. So that's $120,000, right? I just, when you get older, missile, I think you get less judgy. You realise that kids are kids, they make mistakes, and he's made a massive mistake. And where people, I personally, I hope he stays at South because I think Wayne Bennett would be the perfect person for him.
Yep.
But unfortunately, and I said this yesterday with Fletch, or the other day with Fletch, the problem that Latrell Mitchell has, right, which is no fault of his own that he's so God-gifted bloody good, is that everything came a little bit easier for him or a lot easier for him.
Yep.
So if your life has spent everything coming so easy to you, and all this money thrust upon you, you've won competitions as a youngster, yes, we want to bag him. Oh, yeah, well, I'm on a building site and I'm doing this, that and the other. But you haven't lived through his life. And I haven't lived through his life. So with every gift that you have, sometimes there's also the perils of it. Do you kind of know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'll give you a little example of just different opinions and different perspectives on things. So while Maddie and I were over in Paris, the hockey player got caught buying cocaine.
Yeah.
And Maddie and I were going to film one of our shows, and there was a few different film crews there, different producers and stuff, some different journalists as well. And while we were going to film our show, they were talking amongst each other saying, we need to go and we need to find out what jail this guy's in. We need to stake it out. So we've got footage of him coming out. You know, what are we going to say to him when he comes out and all this stuff? Maddie and I sort of said, oh, look, that's we think. Well, I said it first. I said, I think that's crook. Like, I think that's no good. And Maddie said, oh, I'm with you. I don't like it. I said, you know, we've been on the other end of that, on the other side of that. You staking us out
under the torch
because we've made a mistake or we've had a hiccup, and we know how life-changing that can be on the other side, and we know the horrors that poor hockey player would be in right now, sitting in said jail cell, waiting for this inevitable release. One of the cameramen said, yeah, well, you know, it's super tough for us as well. Sometimes we have to stand out there for ages, and it's pretty tiring. And you're saying, okay, so sometimes in life, unless you've experienced something or unless you've been on the other end of public opinion and backlash, it's hard to have empathy for these people because they're just people. Yeah. They're not superhero athletes. They're just people. So sometimes I think it's hard for people to look from the outside and understand what Latrell's going through and how hard it is.
I totally get that. Have your say as well. But I just saw the situation from a parent, right? Yes, he's the athlete. I don't think his parents give a rat's and family give a rat's about the superstar he is. If he's in that situation, they're more concerned about how are you, mate? You know, that's where I come from a parent.